Dave Sterling, the state's voter implementation manager, and he also mentioned that yes, there will be a recount. They said they're confident that everything was done properly. Now, they've said in their office, were there illegal votes? Yes, they do believe that there were some in there, but again, made it very clear that none of them rose or would rise to the level that it would change the outcomes here in Georgia. And he also stated that he believes a recount, which is almost certain to happen, will not result in any different results.
Blaine, we know we could see both Senate races in Georgia head to runoffs on January 5th, I believe. Stacey Abrams' voting rights group Fair Fight says they have raised more than $7 million for those elections. That's a lot of cash for these two races. What are they doing with that money, and how are those candidates preparing?
Well, they're already hitting the ground running, Allison. It's very clear that, people in Georgia are paying attention, but this has national implications, of course, because if these two races here in Georgia that are very likely going to decide the balance of power in the Senate. So that's why you're seeing so many big names, big dollars already flooding into Georgia on both the Republican and the Democratic side. So on the Democrat, when I've spoken with leaders here in the state, Democratic leaders here in the state, they're optimistic that the election of Joe Biden, the fact that he's now president-elect, they're counting on that to energize the people that they need to get out to the polls on January 5th. At this point, nobody's trying to change any minds. What they're trying to do is make sure that people on both sides are fired up enough to get to the polls, and for Republicans or Democrats, even the result that they want. Now, from a Republican standpoint, what they're doing is, they've acknowledged as much as that they don't like the fact that Georgia is going blue in the presidential race, even though there's still some votes to be counted, but they're holding on to the Senate, hoping to hold on to the Senate, and so that's what certainly energizing a number of Republicans in this battle.
Well, Republicans have not lost a Senate race there since 2000. The Democratic candidate, John Ossoff, feels pretty confident about his chances. What has he been saying?
And that's exactly it. I think it's that enthusiasm. I think it's the fact that they're hoping that people are going to ride this wave. When I spoke to the head of the Democratic Party here in Georgia, she said that absolutely energizes not only John Ossoff, but Raphael Warnock, who's running in a separate race, because she says she believes that now voters can see what's possible, that it's more than just this kind of idea of, hey, possibly Georgia can flip blue. She said now that Georgia is in the position that it's in, she believes that they're going to try and use that momentum to say, okay, if Joe Biden is in the White House, this is what we need. We need a Senate to make sure that his agenda actually gets through. And so that's what they're fundraising on, and that's what they're hoping will carry voters to the polls in January. Allison.
Blaine Alexander in Atlanta, thank you so much.
You got it.
Arizona is still counting its ballots with 98% of the votes in. President-elect Biden leads President Trump by almost 17,000 votes in the state, but the Trump campaign is filing a lawsuit claiming in-person votes were incorrectly rejected on Election Day. NBC News political reporter Vaughn Hilliard has more from Maricopa County.
Allison, Joe Biden's lead here in Arizona is down to just 17,000 votes, but the issue for Donald Trump is there's an indication that the remaining ballots here in the state of Arizona may not be as friendly to him as those over the last several days. That's because this is the end of the batch. These are essentially the more complicated ballots, like the military and overseas ballots, and damaged ballots, braille ballots, large font ballots, that the county had to go and process by hand. Those are the remaining ballots, and they're a little bit more representative of the overall electorate's vote share. And that is why, when you're looking, there's just a little more than 30,000 ballots that are definitely left to be processed. There's about 50,000 more provisional ballots or early ballots with questionable signatures that still must be verified by tomorrow afternoon by voters here in the state of Arizona. That's why the Biden campaign is eager to call this a victory here. The Trump campaign, one official acknowledging to me there's only a glimmer of light left in this race here. This is the complicating part here for what is a map that the president wants to claim is still being winnable, but of course President-elect Biden has already begun this transition process. We should also note Dave Massey, who was tasked with leading the legal defense effort on behalf of the Trump campaign, he was out here on Thursday